In an exclusive interview for RG.org, Ivan Demidov revealed a big update on his injury status, plus something Slafkovsky sent to him that has a lot of us pretty pumped up. We got to get into all that. Plus, Aatos Koivu not only shows out in a game against Canada, but he has one Montreal Canadiens media personality extremely excited and honestly shocked at what he has shown in the past week or so. We're going to get into all of that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest, and we're going to start with Aatos Koivu. He is a beast, Jesse. Finland played Canada, and I think it was sort of a summer showcase. I'm not even really sure what this tournament is. I should probably look into that. But regardless, Aatos Koivu scored a goal. Now Canada, well, they won this game, but Koivu scored to make it 8-4 for Canada, and it was on a one-timer. I don't have a video of it, but my gosh, it prompted Grant McCagg, well, even before the game, to say this: the Koivu I scouted midwinter looked nothing like the player I scouted last week and today. His skating has noticeably improved, and he's competing a lot harder. He looks really good, and we heard from Aatos himself in a recent interview with TSN. He said, "I've heard only good things about Canada." He, as in his dad Saku, has been talking a bit about Canada, the fans, the rink, the place. He loved it there. "I think we're pretty similar as players," he said, "but definitely I have a better shot." And I think he agrees, and he proved that today, Jesse. Aatos, I mean, again, I still think he's sort of a long shot to be a long-term impact player for Montreal. That's what you get with the later round draft picks, but the fact that we're seeing a lot of progression already in a guy that we knew had the pedigree to be a really good player, it's extremely encouraging.
Aatos Koivu is the definition of a sleeper pick. There's some really solid skill there, right? A lot of upside if he does break through, right? And the big thing is his shot, and he was backing that up today with the big one-time, with the big bold words, right? Like, Saku Koivu was an amazing player for the Habs, not only all class, but obviously had amazing skill as well. And Aatos, that's the big thing, right? Is he has skill, but it's just that smaller frame. But we know if, like, he's just able to kind of put on a little bit more weight, there's some really good kind of combo of skills there, along with being a 6-foot centerman, right? So it's all about kind of putting it together. It might be of a longer sort of road for him, but I don't know. This is just a player that I just kind of have a good feeling about.
There's some guys in the system like that. Like yesterday, I talked about Logan Sawyer, and he just gives me a good feeling. You get a good vibe off of some guys, not just like this kid oozes a ton of potential, which he does ooze a lot of potential. But again, when you have that draft pedigree, you just get that feeling about some people, right, Jesse? And guys, I think we're all in agreement that Aatos is one of those guys that we would just love to see succeed, along the likes of Demidov, of course, along the likes of Michael Hage, Lane Hudson. There's so many guys. So let us know what you think about Koivu down below. The fact that he's improving this much already, well, hey, we're going to have to wait a while before we really see what he is, but this next season, I think, could be something special. But let's move quickly into some Ivan Demidov stuff. And he spoke with RG.org about something he was saying with Slaf. And I just wanted to cover this because, oh, Jesse, this is the most exciting thing in the world. We're going to get into this here. He says, Slafkovsky sent me a couple of messages, asked about my health, and congratulated me on being drafted. He also wrote that he couldn't wait for me to come to them. Now, Jesse, when we look at this, all I can think about is a line with Demidov and Slafkovsky together. And as much as I love the top line now with Cole Caufield there, I think there's potential for this to happen. There's potential for Demidov and Slaf to be the top two wingers on Montreal. I don't think it's that crazy to say Demidov could be on the path to be better than Caufield. It is what it is. That would be one of my favorite lines I think I've ever watched, definitely for the Montreal Canadiens, because the pure playmaking and creativity from Demidov, but the physicality and also puck handling and vision from Slaf. To me, I'm already visualizing this. Is this too early? I don't even think it is. Regardless, though, it's awesome to hear how much Slavzilla appreciates Ivan Demidov, even though he's not even coming over to North America yet.
There's just so much opportunity here, right? And I can't wait to see these two together. I see a team now forming a lot of chemistry, a lot of players that can play really well together. And then what that now opens you up to be able to move things around if you need to be, if you want to. Right, it's always nice as a head coach when you have options. That's what it's all about. Like, we know Nick and Nicole, as they've sometimes been called, sometimes a little reluctant to refer them as that. Amazing chemistry, though, we know. But then I think the next combo, I think that Slafkovsky and Demidov honestly have the opportunity and the potential to be even a better combination than Nicole and, together, right? Like, for me, it's just like Slav's playmaking, like, just with that big size, he's able to create so much space on the ice, right? Whipping passes around, and then with Demidov's kind of finishing sort of abilities. And again, a nice combination of skills. Like, why Nick and Cole are so good together is obviously like the setup man in Suzuki, the finisher in Caufield. I could see a sort of similar sort of dynamics as well, where like Slaf plays a little bit of a different game along the boards, everything else, creating some turnovers. So again, very complimentary. So for me, like as soon as Demidov was drafted, that was the first thing that I was thinking about. I think that they're going to be absolutely amazing together, and it's just going to create exciting hockey that we're going to want to watch all season long.
I think they're a really good fit together, not only on offense, which I think, yeah, I mean, they're perfect fit on offense, but also we saw like Caufield pass the puck a lot more this year too. But imagine Demidov there with like one-timers to Slaf or something, right? These give and goes with each other. We saw Slaf do that a couple times. His first goal of the season came on a little bit of a give and go, right? So there's all kinds of stuff like that, but also they're both guys who don't give back a ton, or well, I should say they don't lose a ton on the defensive end, right? They give back what they can on the defensive end, and Demidov's solid two-way. Slaf is so big that he always makes an impact, whether it's with his reach or now his physicality, that he's improving every single game. So I just think that it's one of those lines, Jesse, that like you fear going up against because you know Demidov's going to be in the right spot and you see Slaf bearing down on you. But then on the defensive side, you're looking at one, again, fast monster with a heck of a shot, and then Demidov, who is one of these guys that can embarrass you with any move. I just think that, like, that's one of those lines that every single team's going to be terrified to go against.
I love that you bring up the defensive part of the game, right? Because if you kind of have a turnover, we know Montreal Canadiens, they already like to play that type of attack, type of hockey, right? But when you have such skill kind of going the other way, especially with the passing ability that Slaf has, I think it's so underrated. It's like, they're going to be able to cost other teams right away. They're going to make them pay for it if there are any sort of turnovers, right? We know Demidov is working on some parts of his game to be able to help exactly with this.
Yeah, it's going to be so cool. I cannot wait for that. And maybe we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, and we still got to see, but it's just one of those things. It's, you love to fantasy book it, right? And it's it is what it is, but I'm sure you guys are excited too. We'd love to hear from you down below, but let's get into the actual news here, and that's the fact that Demidov did give an update on his injury status as well. Now, he did pass his medical, which is good. But apparently that doesn't mean he's fully healthy, as he said in a quote in the same article for RG.org. I'm going to bring that up too. He said, "I'm not working out at full strength yet. That will probably happen in about a week, but I do what I can in the gym, and if I can't because of my leg, I replace it with other exercises." And there was a video that came out today, Jesse, of him doing the ropes, right? Sliding back and forth doing the ropes. He looks okay. He looks decently mobile. But the other big thing he said is, of course, it's much competition, talking about his team now getting Evgeny Kuznetsov and having a lot of other skilled, experienced Russian players. He said, but also much experience, not just competition. I'm watching them, talking about Kuznetsov and the other good players, closely and trying to adopt their best qualities. And we've heard quotes come out in recent days, Jesse, about how Demidov is not only a fan favorite, but a player's favorite. The guys love him in the locker room. The reports say that he's one of the most driven guys in there, one of the guys that wants to get better the most. He's talking about how he wants to take as much as he can from all the players around him. And he's saying, I hurt my leg. I mean, this is pretty standard. I mean, any hockey player is going to do this. I hurt my leg. I'm going to do other exercises. I'm going to do everything I can. But every single thing around Demidov, even though he's not at full strength, he's doing everything he can. I just, like, again, just one of these things where as the days go by, as the news comes out, we see more and more why he was picked by Montreal, but also why he's going to be a star in the future. It's not often you get someone with the insane level of talent that he has, with the drive. You know, we've talked about Kobe Bryant before, right? Like, this kind of thing, this Mamba mentality that even Demidov himself has said he has, is extremely evident. And I could go on for another 10 minutes about this, but Jesse, I'm just like, every single thing he says is gold.
Well, exactly. And that he knows exactly what he needs to work on in the gym right now. And that's his explosiveness and also his lower body strength, which luckily enough for him, go hand in hand, right? That's maybe the one thing kind of missing. Again, you know, kind of rehabbing with the leg. You have to feel like the Montreal Canadiens are helping where they can in that process, just in terms of exercises. They're checking in lots with him. The fact that they have an amazing plan for him, despite they know that there's going to be a lot of competition in SKA this year, is quite amazing, right? And out of any challenge really comes some opportunities, you know, and it's just amazing that Demidov is viewing in this way. He said, this is a positive for me. Like, he's going to be playing with Evgeny Kuznetsov, a player who in the NHL was a point per game player, you know, at least for one season, right? Like 2 other seasons, he was pretty close to being that as well, while for many seasons, obviously having a huge impact, you know, winning a Stanley Cup and everything else, right? So it's going to be so important for Demidov to really kind of soak in some experience, not just from an NHL player, but somebody who's had a big impact, right? So we see that his development, the plan is going right to schedule, and that he seems to have a solid plan as well as the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that there's this open line of communication, he's talking about all this. He's very, like you said, he said, I know what I need to improve on. And hey, that lower body strength, those quads, that explosiveness, I mean, he's going to maybe get better training of that over with Marty St. Louis, but that's to be seen. There's a bunch of good stuff happening on the Demidov front, even though he's not fully recovered yet. I'm sure he will be for the regular season. And we still got less than a month now until we know SKA's finalized lineups. We can only assume he's going to be there, but yeah. What do you think about Demidov? What do you think about this injury? What do you think about the quotes every single day from him? We'd love to hear from you down below because I know that we are pumped about it. That'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for supporting every single day. We're even close to 15,000 subs, which is insane to say. So, hey, if you haven't hit subscribe, do it now. We'd really appreciate it. I'm Josh Gosse for my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.